Broadway's gonna have a grand new show tonight, with glitz and glam on the marquee, perhaps a Tony nominee. Stars beam brightly, see them glow, sell out nightly, SRO. It's time to applaud the Broadway beat. Stars beam brightly, see them glow, in the sunlight of a show. Life is sweet on the world's most famous street.
Tickets, please.
Take a seat.
Cue the band.
And have your feet to the rhythm of the Broadway beat. The Broadway beat. Broadway beat.
Hello, I'm Richard Ridge, and welcome to Broadway Beat, our weekly half-hour behind-the-scenes look at the very best of the New York theater on Broadway and beyond. This week we devote our entire program to Broadway's longest-running revival, the phenomenon known as Chicago. This classic John Kander, Fred Ebb, Bob Fosse musical about those two merry murderesses, Roxy Hart and Velma Kelly, recently celebrated its 10th anniversary at the Ambassador Theater, where it continues to pack them in nightly. We'll follow the show's journey from its original incarnation as part of the 1996 City Center Encore series, which led to the current Barry and Fran Weissler produced production, which opened with Anne Reinking, Bebe Neuwirth, and James Naughton. Over the years, we've interviewed many of the stars who've appeared in Chicago, but we start things off with a special treat with the original Roxy herself, Gwen Verdon, who talks about the genesis of the show. Enjoy.
Let me see. When I was doing Can-Can, that was when they first started doing late-night movies. And I'd get home late, and curtains were very late going up in those days. So they'd have a movie on after the Steve Allen show. That's a long time ago. And which was the Tonight Show. And I would just watch, and they played Roxy Hart. Well, I loved the movie, and I liked the character, but I knew something was wrong with it. Something was wrong. I couldn't believe it was written that way. So I got the script, the play, the original play, called Chicago, and just loved it. I mean, it was so current, because at that time, that's when the all those hearings were going on, and I mean, everything was corrupt, and Chicago was all about corruption. And I kept trying to get it, and Maureen Watkins, who wrote it, she kept saying, oh, no, now is not the time, through her attorney agent, Shelley Aubin. Anyway, every time anybody would say, what do you want to do, honey? Anything you want to do, we'll do it. And I would say, Chicago. And they'd say, oh, what do you want to do that for? So only by the time I'd done all those other shows, they finally said, what do you want to do? Anything you want to do? And I said, this is what I want to do, Chicago. So, again, we got in touch with, now this was the last time we got in touch with Maureen Watkins through Shelley Aubin, and it was the very beginning part of 1963.
Oh.
Yeah. I was very pregnant, but I still wanted to do that show. And I knew I was not going to work until the baby was at least 3 years old. So I still kept trying. And also, the Cuban invasion thing was going on. You never realize how involved things can get. Anyway, they got a hold of Maureen Watkins down in Florida, who was living in a nunnery. And she said, we just can't talk about any little piece of fluff right now. She said, Castro's got his cannons aimed right at us. They're only 90 miles away. We just can't talk about it. So we dropped it. The baby was born, all that stuff. And one day I got a call from, well, I can't think of his name. He wrote Born Yesterday.
Garson Kanan?
Garson Kanan. And he said, I would like to get a hold of the property, Chicago, and I know you've been interested in it. I said, yes, I have. He said, if I can get it, would you do it? And I said, let me try and get it. So I called Shelley Aubin, and he called down there and in Florida, and her answer was, everybody's been trying to get this. Fox wants to do an updated movie with whoever wrote the movie, and Garson Kanin wants to get it. And she said, all roads lead to Verdon, because everybody said, we'll get Verdon, because everyone knew I wanted it. And she died soon after that. And her attorney knew, though it was not in her will, that she had said, all roads lead to Verdon. She can have first right of refusal. So I got it.
Boyfriend.
Why'd you shoot him?
I was leaving
Was he angry?
like a madman. Still I said, Fred, move along. She knew that she was doing wrong.
Then describe it
He came toward me
with a pistol.
from my bureau
Did you fight him?
like a tiger. He had strength and she had none, and yet we both reached for the gun.
I don't know if it's more relevant, but I think that in the times are sort of darker and more cynical today, and everybody will tell you this whole O.J. Simpson justice system, and this show vaudevilleizes the justice system in a very cutting and intelligent way, and funny.
Well, it's got an energy. I'll tell you what I enjoyed the most. The first day, the first performance, the first song on opening night got a tremendous ovation from the audience, and they didn't just clap, they roared back at us. I was standing backstage at the time, and I hadn't heard that in quite some time. And I thought, well, it's the first number. And then it went on, and it went on and on and on. After each number in the show, the audience audibly roared back. And I hadn't heard anything like that. It's really exciting to be in a theater on either side of the footlights when that happens. And it happened for all four performances. So I thought, well, the energy in the show, it's just non-stop song and dance, and it's really cool.
I guess I have a real thing about this, what I call the dehumanization of the Broadway theater, and I think it's frankly, a really seriously dangerous thing for society. I know that sounds really like she's an obsessive little girl right now, but I really do feel that way. Art is something that takes society forward. It's the creative minds, whether they're scientists or artists or whatever, they pull a society forward. And if you keep dulling it down and dumbing it down, as what's happening on Broadway, and presenting things that just are not good, or they could be good, but they dehumanize it, and they put this is my point, they dehumanize it, they put all these special effects, they have, let's go see the set, it's a human experience. What City Center Encore series does, I feel, and why I think the audience responds so well to it, is because it's completely the performers and the audience in an evening together, and nothing has been imposed on it, and I think it's really great. You get to hear the show and see the show and understand the show, and I think that's for Chicago. What happened was we've taken that. And we've done that, only filled it out. We've sort of completed the gesture. Walter Bobbie and Ann Reinking have completed the gesture. So what we're left with is this extraordinary human experience. Nothing will be done during the evening to take the audience away from the show in any way. And in fact, the audience is part of the show. And don't worry, nobody's going to go out into the house and talk to you. But, I mean, you are, because it has to do with, the orchestra will be in a jury box. And the people are on stage through the whole show. And the audience is present. So in a way, they're witness to the crimes. They're witness to the scheming, to the plots. They're witness to the trial. They're, it's even more so part of the whole evening.
I don't care for wearing silk cravats, ruby studs, satin spats, don't mean a thing. All I care about is love. Give me two eyes of blue, softly saying, I need you. Let me see her standing there, and honest mister, I'm a millionaire.
I did go.
Was this one of the first time you've gone to one of your opening nights?
22 years it is. The first one.
Tell me, what was it? What kind of memories does tonight bring back to you about writing Chicago the first time around?
Oh, Fosse and the joy it was with Chita and Gwen, and it was a very happy experience for me.
So what are some of your memories about writing it originally?
How hard it was, and how much we knew that didn't seem apparent to people at the time. How much we were saying that didn't seem to be coming across as clearly as it is now.
So when it was first revived, when it came back to City Center, what was your initial reaction when you found out they were doing it?
I thought, boy, we really we had a lot to say 22 years ago, and finally it seems to make great sense to everybody.
Because a lot of people feel it plays better now than it did in 1975, or it's more relevant now. Well, why do you think?
Because O.J. Simpson's happened, and the Menendez brothers have happened, and Joey Buttafuoco has happened, and all sorts of things in the judicial system that you might take issue with or feel are worth satirizing now make perfect sense.
Well, you just walk in, front cover of the New York Times.
Just found that out. Isn't that fabulous?
What are opening nights like for you? I know that Freddie normally doesn't go, but Freddie went tonight for the first time.
Well, for one thing, I mean, this is a revival, but also the people, the tremendously talented and inventive people who put it on, we didn't have to do anything. So it was just, we just really came to applaud them and appreciate what they did. I'm so dazzled by their work, I can't tell you. It was a thrilling night for both of us.
So what memories did this bring back to the original production in 1975 for you?
One of the memories, collective memories, was that Gwen Verdon was there and Chita Rivera was there, and it just brought back everything. We were all... Though, truth to tell, I think really I was so focused on what they were doing that it seemed like it didn't have anything to do with the past. It was just a wonderful experience to watch very talented people do what they did.
The name on everybody's lips is gonna be the lady raking in the chips is gonna be
she's gonna be a celebrity.
That means somebody everyone knows.
They're gonna recognize her eyes, her hair, her teeth, my boobs, my nose.
Chicago changed my life. Certainly, I mean my professional life certainly, but it changed my life, and I will never forget sitting there in my apartment reading scripts for the next season at Encores, watching the O.J. trial and going, my God, this show feels like it was written yesterday. I'd always loved the score, but there was something about it thematically at that point in time, and the richness of that show and it was just a blessing. It was just a hunch, and I had once again a great collaboration with Ann Reinking, with John Lee Beatty, Ken Billington, William Ivey Long, and it came together. The thing that's been just the great gift of Chicago is that celebrities continue to lend their talent and their celebrity to the show. They love these parts, and we've never once we had Bebe and Ann, I thought we can never imitate these performances, and what we've done is never asked anyone to imitate them. We've invited other strong personalities, celebrities, and let them inform these roles with their personas, their public images, and their gifts. And so the show always seems fresh, newly minted, and it's been a safe place for wonderful stars to come and park themselves for a while.
So what did that night mean to you, sitting there? Was it surreal?
It was surreal, but the great thing about that night is everyone who showed up behaved like such a team player, such a colleague, whether they had a number, 3 scenes, or 6 lines. They behaved like a company. They got out there, they passed the ball to the next guy caught it, and he ran out there. And to be part of an evening where, Huey Lewis and all these people just doing a little bit of the show. And I think the most important thing about the evening was what we all talked about, is that we still did the show Chicago. That at the end of the evening, we still deliver that great piece of writing and that great piece of material. That was, I think, the most exhilarating part of the evening. And I can't express the rest of it. I was just sitting there going, is this really part of my life? I guess it is, yeah.
Oh, slick your hair and wear your buckled shoes. And all that jazz, I hear that Father Dip is gonna blow the blues. And all that jazz, hold on, honey, we're gonna burn a hug. I bought some aspirin down at United Drug in case you shake apart and want a brand new start to do. A dance, jazz.
Yeah, it was wild. I mean, it was just, Freddie came in, Gwen came in, Bobbie came in, Mary came in, Jerry came in. It was overwhelming when I heard wah, 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 and I went, oh my God, 35 years. It was fabulous. The power was extraordinary.
How proud would Freddie have been tonight, and what he would have felt today?
Just loved it, because nobody loved applause and standing ovations like Freddie.
I just knew I had seen it in the 70s and liked it and thought it was wonderful, and yet it had a 2-year run. I went on the road and everything, and when the auditions were coming up, I tried to get an audition, and they said no, it was taken, and whoever had said they'd do it decided that she got a series, and the next day I got an audition. And it was the day before the rehearsal started, and I just wanted it so badly. I was doing Grease at the time. And anyway, we worked it out. I got an understudy to come in and help me while we did those few days at the encore. And I just loved it the whole 5 years, every single day. I just thought it was wonderful. The cast was perfect, the costumes, the numbers. I mean, it's a miracle.
Think 10 years, what that number means to you. Can you put into perspective of just the phenomenon of Chicago?
10 years is a long time, and it's a very short time. And this feels like we just started.
And having all these people come back that have been with us over a period of 10 years, every single person we asked said yes. It was so wonderful and such an honor for us, really an honor.
I know the two of you said that this is played to 19 million people. What do you think it is worldwide in different languages? What's the connection that they have with the show?
It's universal. The theme is universal. Strife between the sexes and striving to make it to the top, and the justice system.
You know what it says? It says if you're rich enough and famous enough and get a great lawyer, you can get away with murder.
Happy 10th, Chicago.
It felt great. Thank you for saying welcome home. I feel at home here in New York, even though I live in Oregon. But it's so great to come back into town and to be able to be a part of this. I'm so proud to be a part of the evolution of this show, and to be able to join all these amazing people and honor Fred Ebb and John Kander and Fran and Barry and everybody who's been involved in making this show a big success over the years, and to do such good work for charity. We raised $1.2 million So it's all good.
Happy 10th anniversary, Chicago.
Your Mama Morton is incredible. I saw Mary McCarty. I've seen them all. And yours is all in a class all by itself.
Thank you, baby. Thank you. I love that show. I love her. I love the character. I love the show. And I love Walter. And I love all of them. I love Annie. I'm just in heaven right now.
Got a little motto, always sees me through. When you're good to mama, mama's good to you. There's a lot of favors I ain't prepared to do. You do one for mama, she'll do one for you.
The other thing is you got to do this show also in Las Vegas with the one and only Chita Rivera. Sum up
that was the show. I mean, everybody else, you did a good job. You did a great job, but that was the show. With Chita, I love you, darling.
And just what this show means to him. I mean, how proud Fred Ebb would have been tonight. I mean, this wonderful score by Kander and Ebb and Bob Fosse.
You just said it all. You just mentioned them all. You know, they would have been very proud. The fact that the legacy is living on and on and on, and everyone gets a chance to see it. And you go and Bob, you got to give Walter his kudos, but Bob Fosse is a sauce. John, Fred.
It was quite a legendary night, I think. I was a little blown away and starstruck by everybody. And it was amazing how organized it was, too. I mean, to have, 80 people basically backstage in this very small theater. And we were all up in the Crowne Plaza, filling up the dressing rooms up there. It was great.
So it must have been wonderful having, 8 or 9 Amoses all dressed up together?
Yeah, it was surreal. And we were all sharing our theatrical anecdote stories, when our gloves screwed up. And
Talk about a favorite moment that happened to you during Chicago, or a little screw-up or something that you can share over the few years you've been with the show.
Well, I actually only did it for this past summer, and it was amazing to work with Rita Wilson. And to have Tom Hanks backstage as a stage door Johnny, and to work with Usher too. We brought him. It was his first play. So the friendships that you make are the most important, and we all have this bond backstage. Anyone who's ever done the show, there's a sense of you're all part of a family.
I have a very long history with the musical Chicago, and it is always wonderful to come back. It's one of the great things about doing this show is we always joke that you never say goodbye. You just say, so long for now, because you always come back. It's a revolving door, and it's been wonderful to come back every time. It's really like coming back to family, because these are all like brothers and sisters to me. I've toured the world with them. I've toured the country. I've done Broadway. It's wonderful.
Well, what was incredible is I got to have, Walter and I were talking about the fact that we sort of had an experience like this years ago in 79 with Grease, but nothing was like this. Nothing. I mean, to be on the stage with Chita Rivera, I'd worked with Joel. I kept telling everybody, it's everyone from Chita Rivera to Ashley Simpson. So it was really arranged. 34 of us out there. Check your ego at the door, and we all had a fabulous time.
Just talk about this remarkable role that you get to play and that wonderful score by Kander and Ebb.
She sings, she dances, she kills, and she's dressed in little black underwear.
I've done it in South Africa. I've done a European tour. I've done it in the London's West End. I've done it here, and then back in London. And I'm starting here on Monday.
Talk about what you love about this role.
The role of Velma. Well, she's funny. She's funny. She's got a great sense of humor, and she's feisty. I like that.
I felt like being shot out of a cannon for the first time, and it's like a deer in headlights. It was so exciting having everyone there, and it was so exciting having been with the show for the past 9 years, off and on. So it's great.
10 years. What does that number mean to you?
Success, right? I mean, lots of people who've enjoyed it, and just total success and total entertainment. With the movie and with all of the countries that have the show has visited, it's been great.
Velma is every dancer's dream. You get to sing, you get to dance, you get to act, and all those little skeletons you have in the closet, you get to pull out for Velma. So it's really quite wonderful.
What's also great for you is you were in the chorus when the show first opened, and you worked yourself to leading lady.
Well, I don't know if you remember back when Bebe sprained an ankle and Annie had lost a voice, and, I had realized, oh gosh, I know this. Yeah, I can do this. And I went to them, and Walter worked with me for about a day and a half, and we put the show together, and that's how I ended up as the understudy and then took over the role at one point. So it's been a fabulous journey for me. Really a wonderful.
Congratulations, you're wonderful.
Billy Zane and Charlotte D'Amboise were Roxy and Billy, respectively. And in the courtroom scene, the second time Amos comes out as, the mean Amos, I'd mussed up my hair and done what I normally do, but the hair particularly, for some reason, whatever mousse I was using, I looked like Mr. Heat Miser from that, Christmas special. And I came out about 8 bars too early. For some reason, in your head, you do the show and you go, oh, I'm late. And I ran out and I approached the position, and then Charlotte just happened to look and did a double take and lost it and could not speak. And then Billy couldn't speak. And then the ensemble ended up finishing the scene for them. It was unbelievable. It's unbelievable. So.
Well, I love her because it is an act of desperation. That to me, that was the key. As soon as I sort of read those words, it's like I always pictured this cat sort of scratching its way down a wall, somebody at the top. And there's something very amusing and moving about watching someone who's so vulnerable. It's terrible, isn't it? Tragedy can be so comedic. But I really, truly believe that is the case. So, yeah, and I love her so much. And you've got to love who you're playing, I think, and the show. And, of course, my inspiration was Chita. From the first moment I ever heard the recording, that was what I thought, that was what was meant to be, wasn't it? Because she created it in the first place. So, yeah, and she's my idol. I mean, for me, I've been crying for 2 days. Being around her, it's, and just getting to chat with her, and she said to me she'd like to teach me the original choreography, which was wonderful. I said, anytime, I'm free.
These words from my late, great collaborator, Fred Ebb. Today you are about to see a story of murder, greed, corruption, violence, exploitation, adultery, and treachery. All those things we hold near and dear to our hearts.